Another day in the murder trial for former Dallas police officer Amber Guyger, and another day of fireworks in the courtroom. This time, the conversation centered around how easy it is to go to the wrong apartment in that particular complex. Chris Lewis is a criminal defense attorney following the case, and he joins us now live. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
So a lot of the testimony was about how easy it is to actually go to the wrong apartment. What did you make of that testimony?
Well, obviously, that witness was called by the state. He was the lead investigator, Texas Ranger, last name Armstrong. And the testimony, it was a little curious to me because although he was called by the state, it seemed like his testimony did nothing but help the defense. It didn't seem to help the state whatsoever.
That's what I thought, too, which I thought was strange.
Yeah, and essentially the testimony was that approximately 25% of people that live on the third and fourth floors have made the same very mistake of going to the wrong apartment that Amber Guyger made. And the investigator himself said he got confused as he was doing the investigation between the third and fourth floors.
Yeah, so that seems like a big win for the defense. Who do you think is winning so far? Because, as you hear some of the testimony, you think, oh, the prosecution is ahead, and then the next thing you know, oh, the defense is ahead.
Well, as far as the evidence goes, and if we're being completely objective, then the defense is way ahead. The prosecution is obviously saying that this is a murder case, this is an intentional killing, and there's no justification. The defense is saying there might have been a killing, but there was a legal justification. There was a mistake of fact, which is a defense to prosecution. I think that the testimony has shown that this was a mistake. What the state's trying to do is they're trying to appeal to the jurors' sense of sympathy. And that's what this whole case has been about for them. And the judge is going to tell them, you can't make this decision based on sympathy.
What do you think about Guyger's defense attorney? Some people are saying he lacks energy and is kind of ho-hum.
She's got two defense attorneys. The lead attorney on this is Robert Rogers. Robert Rogers, that's just who he is. He's steady. There are no fireworks with him. He's not overly emotional. I think that that's good. You don't want a sideshow on this. Now, the second attorney on that is Toby Shook. Toby Shook is not much different than Robert Rogers. They were both longtime prosecutors. They are very good. They are very steady. I would actually like to see Toby get a little bit of action. I think he brings a little something different to it, and maybe we'll see him whenever the defense puts on their case in chief.
I guess the medical examiner testified yesterday. How much weight do you think the jury will put on that?
Well, with the medical examiner, I don't think the medical examiner moved the needle one way or the other. The medical examiner testified, and I know that the state wants to portray it as one thing, but the medical examiner testified that Botham Jean was either getting up from the couch or he was bending over, or so there were 3 or 4 different things that the medical examiner said could have been possibilities regarding Botham Jean's body position when he was eventually shot.
So how much more testimony do you think? How much longer do you think this is going to go on? Is it going to wrap up this week? Is it going to go into next week?
I can't imagine that. I know when everything started out, they said this could be 2 weeks. That's a very long trial in Texas, in state court. I think that the state is wrapping up its case, and then the judge will probably give the defense some time to figure out what they're going to do. At this point, I think if I were the defense attorneys, the only thing I would do in my case in chief, they may do more. They know the case better than I do. But what I might do based on where everything is right now is I might just put my client on the stand, have her look at the jury, tell the jury exactly what happened, and then let the jury make the decision.
Okay. How about there was a problem yesterday before things even got off the ground with a juror and one of the witnesses that she had some sort of a business relationship with him?
So one of the jurors, the same Texas Ranger I referenced earlier, one of the jurors recognized him and drew it to the court's attention. That seems like that's an unusual thing. It happens a lot more than you would expect. So at that point, what the judge has to do is has to determine Does the nature of your relationship, or the fact that you know this person, is that going to affect how you judge their credibility, either positively or negatively? Because we want jurors to be a blank slate with respect to witnesses, and everything that they judge about an individual's credibility to come from the witness stand. So once the judge determined that this juror was not impacted by her prior business relationship with the witness, then the judge allowed the proceedings to continue. So the judge, Tammy Kemp, did the right thing there.
Would you have had a problem with that if you were defending this case?
I don't think I would have had a problem. Yeah, if you recall, they had to go through this pretty extensive jury selection process. So they have vetted this juror. She was agreeable to both sides. So in that questioning by the judge regarding the relationship, it is apparent that neither side had any problem with what she had to say. And if they did, the judge probably would have removed her. As we know, there are several alternates that are available who have heard all the testimony as well. So there was an option here, and either side could have objected, and they didn't.
All right. What do we expect today? Do you know who may be on the witness stand?
I'm not sure. I know that they're still planning to call some crime scene analysts. At this point in time, I just really can't imagine there being any more witnesses that have to do with the facts of the case. I could see them calling some witnesses that might tug at the heartstrings of the jury a little bit more. But I think as far as the relevant testimony that goes to the facts of the case and what the jury needs to decide, I think we've heard from just about everybody.
All right. Chris Lewis, criminal defense attorney. Always a pleasure. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you for having me on.